I've been a commercial photographer, a commercial filmmaker, a portrait photographer, wedding photographer, landscape photographer. What I want to talk about in this video are the things that I wish I'd known earlier, the things I wish I'd paid attention to earlier. I could give hundreds of pieces of advice on photography, but these ones are the most important and the ones that would have had the biggest impact on me, I reckon, over the last 5-10 years, however long it's been. One of the perils of YouTube is that it takes weeks to make a video. You've got to think of the idea, pull it together in terms of scripting and bullet points, what have you, and then film it and edit it. And the risk is that over that time, someone that does something quite similar to you could release the same or a similar video, like James did last week. My immediate thought was to work on something else, but I'd already put this work in and I thought, well, his journey as a photographer has been very different to my journey as a photographer. The destination might be moving to a similar place, but how we got there and what we've learned over that time probably varies quite a lot. The first one is to trust yourself a bit more and trust what you like to shoot. I've found myself in a place more recently that I've spoken about where I'm getting quite a keen idea of the things I want to point my camera at and take photographs of. And I think I always had an idea of that. There are signs in things I did years ago that point towards this. And I can remember the feeling I had when I took those photos, but I never really did anything with them because I didn't trust myself. I was posting and talking about things that I thought would be more popular because I wanted to get my work out there. I wanted to get seen, which a lot of us do. And I think you've kind of got to get that balance right. My balance was off. I was completely skewed towards that. And the stuff that I should have trusted, I kind of kept more to myself. Obviously, I've learned to do that a little differently now. And I wish I'd done that earlier. I wish I'd trusted myself earlier. I think everyone who is a photographer and a filmmaker should try and document everything and document what they're doing in their lives. There is so much stuff I've spoken about more recently that I wish I had documentation of, whether that be images or videos of me talking or what I was doing. Documenting that journey can be not just valuable to future you, but also to anyone that you have that you speak to or that listens to you on a platform like YouTube or Instagram, wherever. There's so much stuff I wish I'd documented, and I really regret now not doing that. You don't even have to be someone that makes videos on YouTube or anything like that, but you never know what direction you might go in. You never know when you might want to rely on that in future. So don't make the mistake that I did in not doing enough of it. Because like I say, that's probably one of my biggest regrets of this journey. And speaking of regrets, I think that if you have a dream to be a photographer or be a filmmaker, you should chase it. I know there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. I know it's a big risk, but for me, one of my biggest fears was getting to the end of my life and being sat there wishing I'd done things that I didn't have the balls to do, wishing that I'd not let fear get in the way of me chasing my dreams. It's hard. You need determination, you need tenacity, and you need to do a lot of work to be able to chase your dream. But to me, all of that was worth it. I didn't want to be sat in a place where I hated what I was doing. I was wishing I was doing this other dream life that I knew was out there somewhere, but I didn't want to take the risk. That's why I think you should do it. It's not going to work for everyone. Everyone's situation is different. It's probably bad advice. But if you've got that burning desire in you, that's never going to go away. And the only thing you can do is act on it. And at least if you don't succeed, you will know that you tried, and therefore it won't necessarily be a regret. And so that you've got enough time to chase your dreams, you need to look after yourself. I wish I paid more attention to this sooner, and I reckon there's quite a lot of photographers a similar generation to me that probably think similar. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition 2 years ago as a result of probably lifestyle and poor stress management. You need to be mindful of doing regular exercise, not just for health reasons, but it will also help your photography, particularly if you're an outdoor photographer and you're hiking and carrying gear and getting up hills and got early mornings and late nights and whatever else. You need to be able to manage that properly by looking after your body, managing your stress levels. I got this recently. It's probably not the best way to show that actually. This is a Ultrahuman Air Ring, and this is helping me track everything, helping me manage my stress levels a lot more. I'm going to talk about this actually in a future video because Ultrahuman were kind enough to send me this to test it out. But being aware of things like this, of like when I should go to bed and how stressed I am and how tired I am, sounds really obvious, but so many of us ignore it, often to our detriment. And managing all this and looking after myself better is without a doubt making me a better creative, better filmmaker, and a better photographer. I mentioned fairly recently in a video that my dad passed away at quite a young age, and that's had a huge impact on my outlook on life. I'm sure my dad had dreams, unfortunately ones I'm not aware of, to do different things in his life that he just never got the chance to do. So that's always been in the back of my mind, to make sure I'm doing what I want to do and not waste huge swathes of my life, because you never know when it's too late. People hate the thought of their own mortality, but there's nothing more certain in life that one day we meet the end. Don't click off. This is the most morbid this gets. We will get back to more joyous topics shortly, but it's something to keep in mind, and it links back to the previous point. So don't wait around to do the things that you want to do, because you just never know. I've recently completed my first cohort of creative coaching, and it's gone so well, but one of the guys that signed up had basically put off living a more creative life until he was in his early 50s. He'd signed up to the coaching, he was really excited about it, and then before we even got a chance to start, he passed away following a complication, having a routine tooth extraction of all things. This really affected me because this person had waited so long to chase this creative dream they had, and then they didn't even get a chance to fulfill it. You never know what's going to happen, so make it happen now. Be patient. There's no such thing, no matter how it might seem, as overnight success. It takes a long time to build any kind of career, particularly a creative one. You can try and hurry that up by working hard or working longer, and I've tried this before, and what I've realized is the most valuable creative pursuits are built sustainably. And if you try and go too hard too quickly over time, depending on your personality and everything else, you'll burn out. I've burnt out before, and it is really not fun. So yeah, take your time, build sustainably, build intentionally, and that will lead you down a much more fruitful path in the long run. There's a French lady talking downstairs. My wife's having French lessons because we're going to France over the summer for a bit, where I'll definitely be doing some photography, hopefully of bus stops and random things, but you know, I'm just waiting for them to stop talking. Connect with other creatives, other people doing similar things, or even people doing different things, and share this creative journey you're on with other people around you. Teach them, learn from them. There is so much power within a creative community that I think I ignored for far too long. When I left my office job and worked for myself, one of the reasons was because I was fed up of working in such a busy environment with so many people in the office politics, and I just wanted to be alone with my thoughts, to be able to think more creatively. And over time, I just got more and more isolated. It just didn't work. What works is creative innovation with other people, bouncing ideas off each other, having a laugh, enjoying sharing creative ideas. There is so much value in that. I even had the audacity to make an entire video about how important it was to be on my own, to be able to make things. What I didn't share in that video is that I wasn't far off having to call mountain rescue because I twisted my knee whilst filming myself with a drone. I was also so exhausted by the time I got back down that I could barely walk anymore, and also I couldn't open my car because the fob of my battery had drained in the cold. I had no phone signal and I was very far from a petrol station. All of this probably would have been a lot more enjoyable if I'd not done the thing alone, because it was quite a scary prospect. Obviously, I sorted it all out because I'm still going. So I open this to you to connect, share below your YouTube channel, your Instagram, who you are, what you do. connect with the other people that are watching these videos. I think sharing this love of photography and creativity is so important, and it's something I neglected for far too long. Make physical things like prints. Turn your photos into these tangible things that you can look at and show to other people. When you go on trips, make zines or books or something else when you come back. Too many people are leaving their images just on their computers and on your phone, and most of the magic of photography is bringing it to life and framing it or printing it and sharing it and sending them out. I absolutely love printing my work. I love seeing it in things like this. This is something that I'll now have forever, and that like my kids will look back on one day as well. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a print store though, as you'll see in a future video. I have reopened my print store recently, and the link to that is below. There's also a link to my newsletter where I speak about things like the print store. I let people know of when I've got new prints out, and I also talk about more stuff like this to give you guys as much valuable information as possible. So if you want to sign up to my newsletter, the link to that is below as well. I've met a lot of people doing this over the years, and one thing I've learned is that wherever you get to and whatever you end up doing, don't ever assume or act like you know everything. I've definitely met people like this, and no one ever gets to that place. There is always so much to learn, and I'm often humbled by not just comments here, but things I see other people doing and things I learn from other people. There isn't a destination in photography, I don't think. It's just an ongoing journey where different things teach and influence you down different paths and different directions. So just make sure you're always open to that and never think otherwise. If you're anything like me and quite often look for things to inspire you or motivate you to make something, don't rely on that to work, because it just doesn't work. I think I found that the only thing that inspires you to actually do something is action itself. Just do something, make something, go out with your camera, go for a walk, take some pictures of whatever, and that action will creatively inspire you to take the next step. One of the best things I've genuinely done for my photography and my creativity is make this YouTube channel. It's hard. It takes an awful lot of work, but it makes me do things. It makes me do something. And over the last 6 months, I've released a video every single week. And without having that self-imposed deadline to actually do something, I wouldn't have been as creative as I have been. Having that video, starting the week, recording this and doing something inspires me to do more creative work as the week goes on. Don't become a photographer for money. That's a really bad idea. You've got to do it because you love photography. I know some people make a really decent living out of photography, but if you take the entire pool of photographers and consider how big a portion or smaller portion of those photographers they are, you'll realize that you can't do it for money. You can absolutely make a career out of it, no doubt about that, but if you want to be rich, I'd maybe suggest something else. If you are looking to make it into a career, do also be aware of the dangers, because turning your hobby into something you rely on for money can be a slippery slope towards ruining your hobby. There is a way of being able to do it where you don't ruin your hobby and you can make it a really enjoyable career. But yeah, just be careful. If you want to know a bit more about that, I made a video a few weeks ago detailing the dangers of making money from the thing you love. There is no such thing as safety. Safety is an illusion. You might be a photographer with regular clients. They could go bust. Safety gone. You might have a job as an accountant or a scientist, and you never know what might happen to that job. Redundancies, the company. I don't mean to be massively pessimistic, but people don't chase dreams because of safety, and there's just no such thing. I know everyone's saying that the creative industry is under massive AI threat at the moment, and yeah, it probably is, but so is pretty much every industry out there. AI is, I think, more of a threat to office jobs than it is to creativity. If you're doing something that solely uses a computer, an AI can do that. Whereas the human element of creativity, that's something that still can't be recreated. It's not safe though. This is my only gear one in this whole thing, and it is don't change camera systems. A few years ago, maybe there was some value in doing it, but the difference between all the systems now is so negligible in terms of output that there's literally no point changing camera systems. It is just a huge waste of money selling all your stuff and then buying into another one. Your photos, your videos, your everything else, unless you are going from like DSLR to mirrorless, there's really no point in doing it. Unfortunately though, I think the only way you can really learn that is by going through and changing systems. It's something I've done. It's something that didn't change me as a photographer or filmmaker at all. I'd be in exactly the same point now had I not changed systems. I honestly believe that. Final one is to have an and. Be a photographer and something else. Writer, filmmaker, creative coach. Being a photographer alone isn't enough, I don't think, to stand out in 2025. It depends what you want to do. Obviously, if you're looking for a career in this, you definitely need an and. If you're looking for your photography to get more traction, you definitely need an and. If you're happy just devoting yourself to photography, that's fine. But I think you will learn so much more about it and yourself by having an and, by writing about it as well, by making little videos. You will expand your creativity, which will flow back into a greater amount of creative insight when it comes to your photography as well. I think having an and is an insanely valuable thing to have. And that's it. I'd love to know what is the most important thing that you could give in terms of advice to someone nearer the start of their creative journey. We're all on different paths. We've all come to this point from a different starting point. So everyone's thoughts on this will be slightly different. And I think we can all learn a bit from that by sharing this. As I said earlier, by connecting, by sharing. So put down below something else that you think would be really valuable to the community that watches these videos. If you like stuff like this, there is a photography mindset playlist linked just here. And I've got quite an exciting week planned where I think in the next video or the next video, we'll have a special guest. See you then.